For less than an SCX24 and a TRX4M, we've got a brushless 4-wheel steering, all metal geared 24th scale mini crawler. I mean, this thing could be excellent value for money and actually a really good performer. We've got the UCX2405 Pro from UDI RC. Now, they are the new kids on the block when it comes to mini crawlers, but they are certainly coming out swinging. So they've gone for this rock racer style body. You've got like a nylon cage with the different panels on there. You can actually get it in 2 different colours, the yellow or the black. Now it doesn't come with the stickers on it. You've got to stick those on yourselves. I went for a bit more of a subtle sticker scheme, but you know, you can plaster it in lots of different stripes and things like that. It's actually got LED lights on the front and LED lights on the rear. You've got a nice little fuel cell on the back here, and that's actually where your battery goes. So you can see your battery just sits in the back there. You've got a 350 milliamp hour 2S LiPo battery. It comes included. You've got a little interior there with a driver and a passenger. It does come with oil-filled shocks out of the box. So you've got a nice bit of suspension dampening on there. It does say it's all metal gears. You can see you've got plastic axles, plastic 4-link on the front and the rear. And you can see there you've actually got a steering link on the rear and on the front. Because like I said, this thing actually has 4-wheel steering on it. Now, I've seen some people commenting online, and some of you may notice it does look very similar to an FCX24 Lima. However, it is different. There are some differences. I'll show you those in a moment. Now, with the body off, which you can do that just by removing the 2 screws on each side and then disconnecting the shocks, you can actually see underneath, if we move some of these wires, you've got your all-in-one ESC and receiver. You've got your 2-speed gearbox and then your shift servo for the 2-speed. And then you've got that little 1212 3500 kV brushless motor in there. Now, I'm not sure if they are having a laugh with the name on that brushless motor, but I don't know if you can see it. It's called Monoclonius. I don't know if that's a hint of saying we copied somebody else's brushless motor, but yeah, not quite sure what the name means, but it does say on the motor, if you can read it, that it can handle 2 to 3S on the brushless motor, but it looks like the all-in-one ESC and receiver can only take a 2S LiPo. With that body off as well, you can see obviously we've got the steering servo on the front and the rear for that 4-wheel steering. So the transmitters that come with these are actually pretty decent as well. It's nice in the hand, you've got a foam grip on the wheel, it's actually a nice spring on the wheel as well. It's actually a 4-channel transmitter, so you've actually got your steering trim adjustment for your front axle and your rear axle, you've got your dual rate for your steering, and then you've got your trim for your throttle, which funnily enough, I think in one of the manuals it calls this cruise control, which is quite interesting. You've got your reverse switches here if you want to change the direction of the steering and the throttle. And then you've got your mode button here to cycle through the different modes. To power it on, you just need 4 AAA batteries, which don't come included. Power switch is here. Power switch to turn the rig on is just underneath, just push it backwards. To turn your lights on and off, you just press channel 3 here, and that'll turn on those front lights and those rear lights. So if we check out those different modes, in mode 1, you've just basically got your front steering. You can see you've actually got a decent bit of steering there, a nice angle. I'm not sure what the rating is on these steering servos, but you know, they're plenty fast enough and got a decent bit of power. Then if we switch to mode 2, you'll see the light just moves across. Now you've got rear wheel steer. So you can see you've got a nice bit of angle there on the rear as well, you know, still nice and responsive. Then if we switch to mode 3, we've now got our 4-wheel steering. So if you want to do like tight turns and stuff like that, you'd want to use this mode. And then if we press mode again and go on to mode 4, this one is your crab crawl, basically. So if you want to kind of crab crawl from left to right, you can see that both wheels basically turn in the same direction. So what else comes with it? You get a little bag of goodies with a 2-amp USB charger, your normal kind of wheel hex tool. You also get your kind of little spring spacers, which most rigs come included with. So if you want to change the preload and everything on the springs, you can do. Your second bag of goodies is you get a couple of little hex drivers. And then if we open it up, you actually get 3 different sticker sheets. So if you want to stick all the different stickers on there for like different colors for the snow leopard stickers and stuff like that. And then the other thing that made me laugh with this one is you get, I don't know how many different sheets there are here. Look, it's just like instructions, 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 and then a ginormous operating instructions booklet. So yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if it just came with like a manual. But yeah, it says on the box and it says it online that it's a 3-speed. It's not really a 3-speed. It's basically, you know, first gear, neutral, and then second gear. So if we chuck it back in first gear, you can see you can kind of slow crawl that brushless system, and then you've got plenty of wheel speed in first gear. If we chuck it in neutral, You can see you've got no drive at all. And then if we chuck it in second gear, you can see you've got an insane amount of wheel speed in second gear. So yeah, this thing has got loads of go in it. So let's just check out that slow speed control. So I'm not going to put any throttle. I'm just literally going to turn the dual rate up on the throttle a little bit, just so it starts moving. We'll stick the controller over there, and let's just see how well it crawls up here, whether we get any cogging or anything like that. So you see it's nice and slow as it's moving along. It's nice and quiet as well, to be fair, if I stop talking. You see, it's not very loud. Let's just hold that tyre there so it doesn't push it over. That's not bad, is it? That's some pretty decent slow speed control, considering the price of this thing. I mean, I've seen it on AliExpress for $120, but I think it's actually $118 for the Pro version, which is just mental. But if that one's still not going, then I have seen like quite a few different sellers on AliExpress selling it for like $143. I mean, $143 for this look. I mean, I think it actually looks pretty cool. And yeah, considering what you get out of the box with that slow speed control, the brushless system, the four-wheel steering, you know, oil-filled shocks and everything, metal gears, if it does include, you know, all metal gears, it's got full metal bearings. Yeah, it's pretty good value for money in it, to be perfectly honest. So I mentioned earlier as well about how some people are comparing this to the FCX24 Lima. They are very similar, but there are some differences. So first of all, the UDI doesn't have pole axles, but the FCX24 Lima does. The axles themselves, if you look at the Lima axles versus the UDI's axles, they are very similar, like very, very similar, but not identical. And then underneath the chassis, you can see they are very similar, but they're not the same. The actual skid plate is different. The links are different. The drive shafts are different. The bodies are actually different as well. You know, again, they look very similar, but you can see the scale is slightly different. So yeah, it is a very similar design. I actually prefer this UDI to the FCX24. I like the fact that this one sits a little bit lower, even though obviously then you might get a bit more ground clearance issues. I just think it looks much nicer. I much prefer the scale. I like what they've done with the body, with the lights and everything. Yeah, I think this one looks really, really cool. So let's get this thing outside the rocks, run it on the trail and see what this thing actually performs like. So let's try the hill climb first. Nice and slow. Okay, we're not tipping over, but not the best start to the grip. Let's just try again. Let's go slightly to the right, see how it's any better. Okay, we're gonna have to give it a bit of a hop. Okay, nice. Oh, no drag brake it seems. We're just rolling backwards. Let's see how slow we can crawl through here. Right, we're beached, do we? Okay, let's try and go nice and slow up here. See how slow we can crawl. You can see there's a little bit of kind of hesitation. It's not the smoothest thing in the world. There's a little bit of kind of like hopping almost. Not the best grip on the tyres there. Come on, get up there. Obviously we give it more throttle, but the point is I want to see how well these grip and see what that slow speed's like. Yeah, tyres don't seem the softest and the most grippy. Let's see what it's like coming down. We're getting hung up a lot. Let's see if we can actually get up there and get over the ridge of the top. Definitely needs better tyres. Come on, it's getting up there though. I mean, that's quite an angle. Slowly making its way up. Give it a bit more throttle. Okay, let's see if we... Yeah, definitely doesn't seem to have a drag brake. We just keep rolling away. I don't know if there's a setting or something. Maybe we can change the drag brake. I'll have a look, but... Yeah, again, see, we're hung up, look. Because we've got straight axles, no portals. You know, we're getting hung up on everything. Okay, so I've just chucked on some Endura brass wheels and the XHX pins. Fantastic tyres, especially in the wet. That has completely transformed the rig. That looks so much cooler now. I am liking the look of that. Right, let's run this thing again on the rocks because those stock tyres were just driving me crazy. They just had no grip at all. Let's see what this thing's capabilities like now. It's actually going to have a bit more low down weight, hopefully a little bit more ground clearance and some actual decent tyres. There we go, that's better. Right, I'm going to try and go as smooth as I can once we get down to these rocks down here. Just see what the slow speed control's like, especially as we come up to this next kind of rock here. Ah, there you go. As you can see, it is cogging a bit, so it's not the smoothest slow speed control on the brushless system. You know, it's not as good as, like, you know, the Furatech or the Purple Vipers, but, you know, this is a super cheap rig. Looks so much cooler with these wheels on it now, doesn't it? Still getting some ground clearance issues, but not as bad as we had on the stock wheels and tyres. So I'd definitely say for this thing you want to run like some 60 mils or something like that. I'm pretty sure these are 60s, I'll check them in a minute. Okay, now let's see how it does the Gatekeeper. Again, you can see that kind of cogging a bit. See the difference on the grip of these tyres? So much grip on these things is insane, but now it is much more capable. It is lifting a wheel slightly over there on the right, you probably can't see, but let's see what our ground clearance is like now. Okay, definitely better, definitely better. So yeah, you definitely, I'd say the first thing, see, look, still getting hung up on that rear axle. It's a shame they didn't do portal axles on this thing, to be honest, but that was much easier on those tyres than it was on the stock ones, wasn't it? Let's do the up and over. Struggling a little bit there for grip still. Let's give a little hop to get over that first stone. Hey. Yeah, it's hard to kind of control, especially going back in reverse. It's a little bit jumpy. There you go, that's much better. Now, just while we're going through here, let's chuck it in four-wheel steer. Now we've got all four-wheel steering. Let's just see what it's like going through here now. Just want to see. I mean, to be honest, so far I haven't found the four-wheel steering that beneficial, to be quite honest. It's, you know, I suppose if you know how to use it, which, you know, I'm not normally a four-wheel steer person, you could probably make really good use of it and it'd be beneficial. It is cool. I mean, it's a cool gimmick, that's for sure. But yeah, there, look, it's just causing us to get pushed over. So if we chuck it back in just normal steering mode, we're still struggling for grip a little bit there. Come on, see if we can get up here. Oh, look at that. You hear it? We are literally just cogging there, so we had no drive at all then. Axle's getting hung up. Its ground clearance is definitely still its main downside, isn't it? But let's see how we do getting up here now with these better wheels and tyres. There you go, see, much more grip, much more capable now. Still the axle clearance though is pushing us off things, like I don't know if you could see them, but the axle's just kind of rubbing over stuff and then stopping us from getting over. It's a shame. I mean, obviously, you know, this course is quite a hard course. I've designed it to be difficult and challenge the rigs and stuff like that, but, you know, obviously I'm just calling it as I see it. Let's try the merry-go-round now. We've got the better wheels and tyres. Let's see if we can get around here. Now before I go up there, no drag brake. Right, I'm going to chuck it back in four-wheel steer. And let's see if that helps us at all navigate round here where it's a tight corner. So we're gonna, you can see we definitely got a better turning circle. If we had portal axles, so we had a bit more ground clearance, I'm sure it would be much, much better. But just axles getting hung up on everything. I mean, if you ran a course that wasn't so tricky, I'm sure it would be way better. A little bit of cog in there again. Okay, let's run the wall. Nice, come on, come on, come on. Yes, okay, we made it. I think we're going to struggle again with ground clearance here. It's pretty cool with the four-wheel steering, I've got to give it to it. It's pretty sweet. Even if it just looked cool. I mean, I like things that look cool, to be quite honest, but we're going to take a dive. Okay. We'll just show off some four-wheel steering. So yeah, I'm going to chuck it back on the normal wheels and tyres for the trail now, just to see what it's like on the trail. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely say upgrade the wheels and tyres is the first thing you want to do. I mean, I think that looks really, really cool. I'm glad I went for the kind of more subtle stickers instead of all the stripes and stuff like that. I think just with that, with those wheels, I'm actually really liking the look of that. That is really, really cool. So let's check out the trail speed on this brushless system. So first gear. It's got a decent bit of trail speed on it. Let's try second gear. Okay, it's got a crazy amount of wheel speed in second gear, but as you can see, it's pretty much uncontrollable. Full throttle, it just goes flying. Does look cool with that four-wheel steering, doesn't it? Nice turning circle. And they're actually doing better off-road, I think, than they were on the rocks. Okay, so let's see what the difference the turning circle makes with the different steering options. So we're in the first mode at the moment, so just front wheel steering like you'd normally have on a crawler. So I'll put a little stick there for our kind of starting point. Let's just see what our turning circle's like. Okay, so yeah, quite a wide turning circle. Let's mark that with a stick. Okay, so that's where we ended up on just the stock steering. Okay, so let's chuck it in the second mode. So that will just be rear wheel steering. So let's see if that's any better. Clear the stick first. Okay, so if we come back in line. So it's a little bit tighter than the first option, just with the front wheel steering. So we got stick number 2 marking the rear wheel steering. Hope you like my really technical apparatus that I've got here. Okay, let's chuck it in the next mode, which should be the four wheel steering. So this one should give us the best turning circle. Probably gonna have to clear this stick again. Wow, that's like turning on a button. Look, if we just come forward, there's the sticks over there. That's with it four-wheel steer. What a difference that is in turning circle. Okay, let's try the usual route test, see how it does over here. I'd be amazed if it gets up here, to be honest. You can see our tyres are just struggling for grip there. Obviously they've got a bit of mud on them now from doing the mud runs and that. Well, not mud runs, don't do it. Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can hop it. There's definitely a delay in when you hit full throttle and when it actually goes. Let's try and hop it again, see if we can get it to jump. It's got plenty of wheel speed. Hey, okay, we made it at the first bit. And I'd be surprised if it gets up the second route, to be honest, because it's a lot bigger than the first one. But sometimes, you know, the approach angle and stuff like that, it does surprise me. Getting hung up on that rear steering link down there. Don't know if you can see, but obviously it is quite a small rig, so this is a big old route. But we have got some 24th scales up here, though. Try again. A little bit of hopping. Oh yes, 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 yay! Made it, there you go. Nothing like a bit of full throttle to get you over there. Let's see what our articulation's like on suspension and stuff. Going over some mud. If we actually could get some grip. It's a cool looking little rig, isn't it, to be fair? I mean, like, you know, some, obviously as we saw earlier on the rock, with some better wheels and tyres on it, it's definitely much better. It's a shame there's a bit of the kind of cogging, but you know, I quite like the suspension movement on it. You know, having the four-wheel steer is pretty cool. You know, I think it could definitely benefit from some Paul axles. It's a shame they didn't do it with Paul axles. Then you'd have much more ground clearance, but
It's definitely got potential. And I mean, again, for the price, I mean, it's not bad for the price, is it? $120 for a brushless system, which is better than a lot of brush systems. 4-wheel steering, nice small rig, decent suspension, oil-filled shocks, you know, it's not bad. Could be better, but, you know, could be worse.
So what do you think of that? I actually think it did pretty well. I mean, okay, we had a bit of cogging on the rocks, the tyres aren't the best, and obviously with it being so small, you do get some ground clearance issues. But I mean, considering the price, less than an SCX24 or a TRX4M, I think this thing's really good value for money and actually got really good potential. You know, brushless system, 4-wheel steering, metal gears, oil-filled shocks, and let's be completely honest, even with the cogging issues we had, it was still better slow speed control than an SCX24 or a TRX4M anyway, isn't it, really? So yeah, I like the look of it. I think it's really cool. I think it's got potential. You know, as you could see, once we chucked those Enduro wheels and tyres in it, it did so much better. And I think it looked really cool with those rims on it as well. But yeah, I'm impressed, to be honest. Considering this is only UDI's 3rd mini crawler, I mean, they're coming in swinging, aren't they? They're doing pretty well. You know, compare this to a lot of other rigs, it's pretty decent. Now, I'll put a link in the description to where you can get one from. Like I said, the cheapest place was probably AliExpress. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. Drop me a comment if you've got any questions. Thanks very much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.